to understand, have a feel, why do I need data? What do we do when I get data? What preliminary considerations one must have before starting a research in deciding the data, in deciding the nature of data, in deciding the type of data, deciding the source of data. So I have deliberately put the caption of my today's topic, just to understand ourselves, just to have a feel whether data really decide the research within code, or the research within code decide the data within code. The data, the research. This is what we'll be discussing. We'll have got a few examples, and I hope, I expect I can get few more examples from your side also. Let's have a quick recap what we have done in session 1. We discussed, perhaps initiated, how to start a research, and we mostly emphasize that whenever we are taking a research project, we should make it that finally it should be publishable and it should be memorable. And we should not forget that the research objective is to create some new knowledge. There should be some novelty, there should be some newness in our research. And this could be aimed at developing new ideas or theories or problem solving. So these two type of classification we later discuss, that one is theoretical research, another is applied research. And in research, we try to observe, study, measure phenomena or phenomenon. Plural phenomena, it could be singular phenomenon, or you can have many constructs, which we will be repeating as synonyms: factors, constructs, concepts, or variables. As a quantitative student, I would be tempted to use the synonym variables in my class. Sumita would be very much tempted to use the same term, phenomena, as construct or concept. So these are all synonyms. So you should please note it down. So every research should have some key factors, some key phenomena, some key constructs, and our objective is to study, measure those phenomena. Okay. Now, out of those variables, we'll be slowly classifying, understanding further. How do I know whether it is a dependent variable or independent variable? And they have also got synonyms. Don't worry, we'll be repeating again. We'll be calling it consequent and antecedent, or antecedents in plural. Okay. So one depends on the other. More particularly, this is interesting and important whenever we are having a study on establishing causal relationship or relationship of cause and effect. Now today, we'll be discussing further on the research concepts and data concept, as I suggested. Now, very quickly, very briefly, let's again have a recap on the definition of research. What is research? As you might have read from some literature, research can be defined as a search, investigation for knowledge, to establish new facts, or to solve some given problem by using scientific method. Please remember this. It should be, the process should be scientific. Research can be using set of techniques and principles for systematically collecting, recording, analyzing, and having meaningful interpretation of the collected data. Research, in a nutshell, can also be defined as a structured, sequential method of inquiry directed towards a clear objective and for some knowledge creation. Can anybody please give some input whenever I'm using the word structured and sequential method? What do I mean?
May I, sir?
Yes, please.
Sir, from structure and sequential method of inquiry, sir, suffice to say, for a social research, you are trying to collect primary data. And one of the methods of primary data is designing or pre-designing of a structured questionnaire or a schedule. So from what I understand is research has to have a proper sequential and methodical research methodology, so that you are basing your findings or results in findings based on the analysis of the research methodology that you are following on. That's what I got.
I think you have further complicated the meaning. Thank you. Kavita, what do you mean structured and sequential method? Yeah, sorry. Sudarshan Behra.
Sir, before going to think a research on the on a subject, we have to think how to go through the research. What is the main objective of the research? Basing on the objective basing on the objective, we have to collect the data, various data, and how the data will collect. It should be in a proper format and also in a structured manner. What I think.
Okay. Any other input or should I take over? Okay, can we briefly mean that it should have a structured steps sequence? So the research expects whoever does it should follow some known steps, expected steps, sequential, which we had discussed last time, and also we are going to repeat here. We are meaning that RM, research methodology, essentially every teacher should tell you that it has got stages or steps, and we have to go through those steps sequentially. Okay, we had discussed that, and we'll be repeating again, and we'll also be taking cases so that we clarify ourselves. Moving forward, this is what I was meaning, and we had discussed earlier also. First, we'll be repeating again the steps and the stages, and then we'll be quickly discussing the different types or classifications of research. This is what the structured steps or stages of any research. We first have to have what we are doing. What is the research objective? We define the research objective or identify the research problem. Okay. Now, this first step, I'll be requesting one of you, please remind me, is the assignment for next class. Please ask me to elaborate what is the assignment that you are supposed to give in the next class. Hope I will not forget myself. Shianka, can I trouble you, dear? Remind me before I leave today's class.
Yes,
I
sir.
define this, and this will be the next assignment for all of us.
All right.
So once we are clear what we are doing or what we have been given to do on part of our given research or own research, then we identify whether we need data for that research or not, what type of data, and what is the data source. Okay. Before I go to the next slide, before I elaborate, I would be really appreciating if anybody can please read my mind or read our mind, what we really mean by here. data needs and data sources. Can anybody please help us by giving a small example so that all of us are clear? I request you to please participate.
Sir, I think data sources means the respondents that you are supposed to be inquiring for the
Can you give a
data.
small example? Small example. What is the
Yes, sir.
research?
So, sorry, sir.
Better we give one example. Yeah.
Sir, can I?
Please, Shelly, Neha.
Like in my case, I am doing financial market prediction. Here I need stock market values. So data needs can be like stock market prices, and the sources can be like I have to go to the Nifty. There I have to get the values daily. Can it be?
Hope Shelly's example was not a bouncer. It has not gone above your head. She was referring to share market, stock market, and Nifty is share data.
Sir, can I tell something, sir?
Susan Babu, and you can also give example of our last.
Sir,
Yes.
Sir, suppose we'll be doing some of research on the livelihood aspect of a particular area. We have to study the demographic structure of the village, and we have to take some villages, and we have to take the demographic structure. What is the income? What is the sources of income?
So
how they are living?
So what is the data source? So what is the data source?
Data source we can go to the direct data source direct from the direct or indirect sources. Indirect sources you can collect the data from the district profile. Okay. And the block profile of that area.
I'm taking over. I think your example, Shelly's example, Sudarshan's example are good. I think.
Sir, can I?
Anu, please.
Thanks, sir. So primarily, I'll derive the second point's definition from the first point. It says we need to define the research objective. To reach the research objective, we need certain data. That is that identification is the first point. Identify data needs, and once we identify whatever is needed, then we are also going to find out what are the sources to get that data, which could be research material from other researchers, so magazines, and also directly go to the respondents and through a questionnaire get the data, which becomes the basis of the research. Agree or not agree to the hypothesis?
Well taken, well taken. Kavita, quick input, maybe 1 minute or less than that.
I would take the example of the video which you had shown in the last class. So the research objective was to find out the biting strength of crocodiles, and from there the data need would be how strong is the bite of a crocodile, or maybe when it is it's a spontaneous bite, when it is a measured bite, or if I'm comparing it with some other animals, then that animal's bite.
What is the data source for that example?
Source would be, if I'm taking it for crocodiles, then for crocodiles. If I'm including other animals, then the other animals bite strength also.
All crocodiles of that river.
Yeah.
Okay, that could be population. Okay, we'll be slowly discussing. Good, good. Participation was good. Just to save time, I'm sorry that others not given scope. They will have a design for data collection method, and we have to go for the sampling design also. Then we go for data collection, analysis, and report writing, preceded by finding presentation. Okay, this is what the structured steps we meant. Okay. Now we'll be having a very quick run on the classification or types of the research or researches, because we'll be repeating repeatedly. So from one angle, we classify research into two broad categories. One is basic research, another is applied research. Sally, I think, can I take liberty with you and can I trouble you, dear? Look to
Yes,
the
sir.
look to your ceiling.
Sir.
Look to your ceiling of your room.
Okay, sir.
Now answer. What do you mean by basic research? Read from your ceiling.
Basic research, like, sir, the things that I can see. I can understand.
Don't look to the screen. I just wanted you to look to the ceiling. Okay. There are two differences, no? Basic research and applied research. So basic research is aimed at where you are generating new theorems, rules, okay, axioms, ideas, like Maslow's property, whatever you have read. Okay, so those are the basic research. Now, applied research, so it could be problem-solving research, and you are using some of the known theories to reach at some conclusion, right? So this is how you define the broad categories of basic research and applied research. Moving forward, from another angle, we'll be calling it either qualitative or quantitative, or even we can call it as a mixed research. Sriyanka, your take. Don't look at the screen. Try to be honest. And how do you define the division of qualitative vis-a-vis quantitative?
So qualitative and quantitative, I think I'd called you after the previous class where we were trying to discuss, I would say it with the example of the video, where when we were checking the biting strength, we were doing a quantitative because it is something that is measured. But when I called you, I said that if we were measuring the bite strength, the impact of bite strength in connection to the aggression of the crocs, then it would have been qualitative because it's not a numeric or it's not a measurable thing. It's more of a generic tendency, something that we are trying to correlate to a objective or a result that we want. So the aggression level would impact the biting strength of the crocs. That would be a qualitative one and not quantitative.
Can I interrupt you, Sriyanka? Don't forget what you wanted to say more. Divya, just to take clue from what Sriyanka suggested, how do you take Sriyanka's example? Why, how she suggested the same example can be viewed as qualitative? Your take.
It could, sir, because the crocodile example.
Can you first quote Sriyanka?
So can I take another example, which is in my mind?
You don't like Sriyanka? You don't like Sriyanka's example?
Sir, I like, but
Priyanka,
I'll be more comfortable with.
Sriyanka, they are similar. Priyanka, why Sriyanka was trying hard to suggest, yes, it is possible to think of a qualitative aspect from that very example.
Because I think there were enough evidences for quantitative, but we are also drawing some correlation between the current to the previous.
No. Actually, that the interesting point is, can you please recall the construct? Again, I'll be using, you are all, or we all are students of RM course. So we have to use those jargons. What variable construct she used? Aggression.
Or spontaneous. That's, yeah.
We also.
Aggression is one side, biting strength is another side. So aggression, is it a variable, Neha? All of you should participate.
Yes, sir. Yes.
What is the meaning of variable, Neha?
So
What is the meaning of a variable?
so,
Variable varies. Simple.
yes, sir.
Height, is it a variable?
Yes, sir. Age.
Temperature, is it a variable?
Yes, sir.
Beauty, is it a variable?
Yes,
Affection,
yes,
is it a variable? Aggression, is it a variable?
Yes.
Suppose Priyanka will be competing with other athletes or other shooters. Those shooters, those athletes, do they also have, I'm using the word also, aggression? One is attitude. So many things are there. So is it fixed with each athlete or it varies from athlete to athlete?
So
It varies.
Sir,
So
it
if
varies.
varies, we have to take it as variable.
Yeah.
So all crocodiles do not have aggression. If you measure aggression in a position to measure it, it varies. So the definition is one which varies is a variable. My height, my weight, or the temperature of the day varies. So those are examples of variable. So that's why I was asking Dibya, if you have taken the example, what Shriyanka was suggesting was interesting. Okay. So whenever we are discussing, let us try to enjoy the examples. So aggression is a construct. Later, we should discuss how do I measure it? Is it possible to measure? This is the interesting point of RM plus. Okay, I would move ahead if you do not have any clear question on this point. So, depending upon the nature of study or the data involved, it is either qualitative or quantitative. Also, I have told, along with the qualitative, quantitative, something else. What is silly? What is that silly? I just wanted to check whether you are listening
Mixed.
to me or not.
This is mixed.
Mixed research.
Mixed.
So you have got mixed attention. Sometimes on, sometimes off,
Sir,
good off. Yes.
sir, if the
Both qualitative and quantitative.
more, then we have to take the qualitative data.
One research could be purely qualitative research.
Yeah.
One research could be quantitative purely research, and many of us do mixed research. Okay. So whenever you are presenting your final PhD dissertation, you should remember this and get it clarified whether your piece of doctoral research is part of mixed research, quantitative or qualitative. This is what it should be clear. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Moving ahead, from another angle, we classify research into either exploratory or conclusive. Exploratory research we have to do whenever we do not have much insight area. It's a very new area, virgin area where research has not been done. Say, for example, when the world gets stunned with a new virus called COVID 2 years back or 2.5 years back. Nobody knew what it is, okay, how serious it is. When they started research earlier, first they tried with exploratory. Then they got the, oh, this could be the cause of COVID, this could be like the preventive kind of thing. After having some initial insight, then you go for conclusive. Okay, this could be the medicine. Okay, so this is what like the difference. Some of the areas where not much ideas already obtained, so we start initially with exploratory research, and then we can think of conclusive research. But most of the doctoral research, what you will be doing, we are conducting at different schools, are part of conclusive research. Okay, I think if you name a topic, you'll be finding thousands of published articles. So that's how you are in a position to plan for a conclusive research type case. And sometimes yet another type of research is called case study research, where one industry, one sector, one unit needs an in-depth examination, in-depth study, and you can call it a case study research. Say, for example, we have done recently one, like say, Chyawanprash industry in Bhubaneswar. Okay, we had done some case study research, or you do something like that. Okay, So these are part of the types of research. And putting it in a tabular form, I think we had shown it earlier. This could be a classification. Now, briefly.
Sorry, sir, on the previous slide, what's the difference between, I think, the last two boxes?
Descriptive
Yeah.
research.
So these two are part of, if you just want to describe the way I just told, say for example, either you may be having the way COVID vaccination program was handled. It could be part of a descriptive research, or say you did you counter the vaccine hesitancy factor, and what could or what were the causes, and what you did intervention programs, and did it result you in some solution or not? So you can also do for causal research. Am I making sense, Priyanka?
Absolutely clear, sir. Thank you.
Mostly when we collect data, we collect in the very instant, and we observe what is happening, or a research may need long-term observation, continuous observation, continuous measurement. So for example, effectiveness of fertilizer on growth of something, say for example, any crop, or maybe like you are giving some fish feed and you are observing the growth of fish on their weight. So you cannot put the feed and take weight then and there. So you have to wait for weeks together whether how impact it is making. So it needs some longitudinal study. Say for example, you want to move to trimester system from semester system. What is the difference? What is the impact? So for that, you cannot do have like very same moment you can observe what is the benefit. So you need some certain period, and you have to wait for certain period, and it may need some long-term observation. What is the impact? Say for example, one is given a third dose of COVID vaccine, and what is the impact? Soon after, maybe like giving the vaccine, you may not be in a position to observe what is the impact. So you need some long-term observation. So some of the studies require longitudinal studies. Okay. Okay. This slide, I would request you all to please participate. So whenever I'll be repeating the word request, this is perhaps, I'm so sorry to remind you, you are all seniors. I do have respect for all of you. And there is a small formality at the end of the course. What is the small formality, Kavita madam? There is some exam. So we have to appear the exam.
Exam and class participation evaluation.
Formality means I have a formality to set few questions. So I have the formality to advise you in advance, and some of the key points that we need to note it down. So this is one which we should be clear, and maybe we have to have practice now, and a small quiz at the end of the session today. As we initiated earlier, perhaps in the last session, we have got basic 4 fundamental scales. One is called nominal scale, which is just nothing more than the labels, which is used for just naming sake, identifying different category. This is also called categorical scales. Say, for example, religion, if you want to divide respondents as per religion, so you put into different religions. So those name of the religion is put on the nominal scale. Okay. Moving up the robustness of a scale. Next one is ordinal scale, which we use if we wanted to put on preference, priority, importance and put them in order. Say, for example, we have got, say, 12 hospitals, and we ask persons, those who have used medical services, to put them on rank, perception, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is part of ordinal scale. Okay. Now moving up, next is called interval scale. Interval scale is one if we have to have some definite values within two ranges. Interval means it has got range, lower limit, upper limit. Okay. Can anybody just help me out? What is the difference between ordinal and interval?
So maybe I will try.
Huh.
So if we have a file of all employees of a company and their employee numbers are written, which is
Slow. Satish, please don't mind. Hope you won't mind if I ask somebody. Neha, you are there? Quote Mr. Satish first example. Neha, I just wanted to check whether you are listening to each other or not.
Yes, sir. As a ranking of employees.
No.
No,
Yes.
not ranking.
He
Employees have a code.
he used employee code. What is
Yes, employee code. Actually,
just
sorry.
you have to tell me objectively, specifically, why he is telling employee code. Are we using any scale there?
So yes, interval. We use interval scale there.
Oh, madam. Employee code, we are using a scale. What is that, Priyanka, madam?
Ordinal. Nominal scale.
Nominal scale.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, Satish, thank you. Sorry for interruption. Proceed.
The employee code may
Or it's
be
an ordinal scale.
only nominal scale.
No, it's a nominal scale in my example. It didn't
Nominal
have meaning
scale,
to differentiate between people. But then suppose the next column was the
Sorry,
attendance.
Satish, but if it's an employee number, possibly it follows a sequence, right? So you can definitely get to know the experience of the people or your tenure in the organization.
You are not wrong, but then different companies follow different approaches. The example that I thought my mind was similar to the jersey number of athletes, let's say runners. And then ordinal will be a data where if I am arranging their entry time into office today in ascending order, who came first, who came next, who came last.
This is fantastic example. This is the benefit of collective wisdom, like this example.
And the last one, interval scale, could be, suppose there is a rule that 9 o'clock you have to come, so 10 minutes is the grace time. Who all came before that? Who all need a half-day leave? Who all need a full-day leave? If we divide the day into three categories.
Example, I could not even understand. Can you please elaborate, Satish, how it is
Okay, so I just guessed from the definition that if the day is divided into, I'm thinking of attendance, and where attendance is strictly monitored in that situation. Suppose we have a list of 100 people and their entry times to the office and exit times from office, and then there are rules that you have to come at a certain time, let's say 9 o'clock, with a grace period of 10 minutes. Then you have to spend at least 9 hours. If you spend less than that, you have to apply for a leave. Then if we divide that data into who all came on time and spend 9 hours, who all came late and spent 9 hours, who all came late and spent less than 9 hours. So probably that could be a interval scale.
I think the last example let's not use now. So if you kindly commit, I think it could be a bit confusing. We'll take it off a bit later. Satish, last example, previous two examples well taken. We'll surely discuss Satish last example. Who else can give example so that we can have a distinction between ordinal?
May I?
Yeah, please.
So supposing I'm considering a class of students and I want to focus on how much height they have gained in 1 year. So if I'm going by the roll number, so roll number 1 to 10 is one interval, roll number 11 to 20 is another interval. So I would just see how many of them are beyond 5 feet or how many of them have gained more than 2 inches in the last 1 year. So that I guess would be an interval.
No. Can you elaborate a bit, Kavita?
I was thinking, supposing it's a class of 50 students, so all of them having roll numbers 1 to 50 based on maybe the alphabetical order. So that becomes a nominal scale, that is the roll numbers. Ordinal scale would be the tallest boy or the tallest student is first and the shortest student is last. And then if I put them in order, that becomes the ordinal scale. Now, if I want to see in this class, how many of them are beyond 5 feet? So beyond 5 feet is one interval. Between 4.5 to 5 feet is one another interval. And
No. Same thing. I think we are entering to. I have requested politely Satish example just to keep on hold. I think you are also entering to that same area. Keep on.
Sir, I think for interval, the best.
Apita, can you please be louder, please?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sorry for my voice, sir.
Okay.
Sir, we can take example of temperature, Fahrenheit or Celsius for interval scale. That would be, I think, a perfect interval would be there.
No. Again, Arpita, Kavita, Satish, I think again entering. Can I
try? The interval scales could basically mean people that we have lost. For example, attrition. How many were left us between 0 to 3 years of their experience, then 3 to 5 years of their experience with us? Will that be an interval scale?
Okay, no. Again, Priyanka, I'm so sorry. You are also entering to the intelligentsia gang of Satish, Kavita, Arpita, and Priyanka. What is the upper limit? What is the upper limit, Kavita? What is upper limit of Priyanka? So, for example, Satish, suppose I came after 70 minutes of your scheduled 9 time of your office. Is there an upper limit? Say Divya may come after 125 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So interval scale means that
there needs to be
upper limit.
Sir,
so that way we have to put Primple.
So interval scale, like you were saying, there needs to be limit, a lower limit and an upper limit, and the chances have to be equally split in between.
Need not be equal.
I mean the variable can be as low.
Again, fantastic is like a healthy sign that we have confusion. That's why we started today. Have you got added to your confusion in RM class or not?
Yes, sir.
Good, healthy, welcome sign that we all have confusions. Hold on, I'm taking over so that let me give more examples. Again, I'll be coming back to you for your own example. Arpita, dear, don't mind, I'm taking over, but don't forget your example. Can you remove your hand, please, or you are going to give me a slap?
No, sir.
Sir, can I just last example?
Okay. A ratio scale is one which you are perhaps hinting at to say, which will have absolute number. Like somebody suggested Fahrenheit or temperature, it's part of ratio scale. Satish was suggesting how many minutes one was late by clocking in, that was ratio scale. Priyanka was suggesting something that I'm forgetting. This is also part of ratio scale. Hold on for 2-3 minutes. We'll have a lot of examples here. Then we'll again come back to your own examples. Now, all of you, please participate. Look to the screen. This could be part of our own research project, be it for this RM course, or be it for your doctoral research, or be it for your research paper writing. There, one construct could be, what is the preference? What is the first choice, first preference? All of you mark the wording. It could be on the packaged water, or maybe like one of our close relation is suffering, and which hospital comes to our mind first. Best service offered. Say we are here at Bhubaneswar, should we go to hospital number X, hospital number name Y? How do we choose? Okay. So please remember, suppose here in this example, packaged water, say maybe like Kinley and what other examples. Now, am I clear what the question is? Now,
Sir.
Every row will have these 4 symbols. Kavita, what does it mean? Don't say no. Don't say IR. Unmute.
The scales, nominal, ordinal, interval, and
Can you say if I'm clear in telling the example?
So this is O, ordinal scale.
Shelly?
Nominal.
Shelly, why you are angry today?
No, sir, I'm not.
Arey beta, fast choice.
First choice of consumers of packaged water.
You name 3 branded packaged water, Shelly.
Sir, Kinley, Bisleri.
Okay.
Aquafina.
Aquafina.
Whatever. So what is your first choice? So if there are 4, 5 in list, you are putting like first preference. Are you saying in nominal scale or you are using indirectly another scale?
So, sir, actually, I thought the names are there.
First choice, I don't know.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Kavita was
internal.
Anupriya, you have a question on this.
Sir, actually, it's an example of ordinal scale.
Wait. Let this particular slide be over. I think
Okay,
we
sir.
can come back to the example. Okay. Now here, all of you look here. Say, for example, in our questionnaire, one of the questionnaire could be the marital status. Okay. So you are putting it. Could it be Kavita, one of the question in the year? So what would be the response?
Nominal.
Nominal.
No.
Nominal.
All of you clear, or anybody have?
Yes, it is nominal.
Okay.
Nominal.
So now please be clear. Now say annual income of a family. Now I remember, I think Priyanka and Satish debate. Sorry, we are at 3rd row. Can we have comment on 3rd row?
Interval.
Ratio.
Interval. Interval.
Interval.
Priyanka, how you elaborate? You told interval?
Yes, I said interval because there will be slabs, right? Between 0 to, let's say, from 1,000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 50,000. So there will be intervals. That's how I see when you look at the annual income per family.
So what is the last limit?
So
is it not an absolute value, sir? The annual income.
The last could be 1 lakh and above or 10 lakhs and above, something like that.
Okay, smarter. Priyanka has got a smart answer. Okay. Has anybody heard Priyanka correctly? What was the smart answer from Priyanka? Pimple, don't forget your beautiful point, okay, or your question. I want somebody to put Priyanka's smart answer. What Priyanka told. She had a very smart.
So why not it will be internal scale and ratio scale?
That we'll be discussing. I'm just requesting you don't forget that. So that's very interesting. But I enjoyed Priyanka's smart answer. Who has heard correctly? Priyanka?
Sir, 10 lakh and upper. Priyanka.
Above.
Priyanka has said
So
10 lakh and upper.
Sare. Okay, Sare. One by one. Pimple, you had a question. Sorry.
Sir, I was asking that it like the annual income of family, when we put that question in the questionnaire, it has like only if our objective is, very directly linked, then we might put a slab and everything. But otherwise, this question can it also go in the nominal scale category when we do not put slabs and we were just randomly when basic information we are trying to target.
I will side with Trimple on this one. I had the same doubt. That isn't it just a value that we are using?
Please, all of you listen to me. I'm just taking clue from Priyanka and Primple's suggestion. You have to now answer my objective question. How, when it would be nominal, or can it be actually nominal? My objective, Satish.
Sorry.
Or yeah, Shelly.
Sir, in nominal, we have specified answers like in the case of marital status, married or unmarried. Like in nominal, we have our answers. but they are for the names.
What is my question, Sally? What is my question?
So annual
Sir,
income.
in annual income, like Pimple said, in annual income, it can be nominal.
So
So in annual income, we are not giving the options in the annual income. She is asking if it can be a open-ended, like the respondent will enter the numbers.
Sally, I think you are not appreciating the beauty of the question. The question is, can we ever think of deciding income as a nominal scale? Vanu, be brief.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I will take a little back step and probably connect all these definitions to the circumstances and the reasons why we are collecting the data. I think Shriyanka very nicely put it across. So marital status of respondents, it could be a nominal, or it could, to me, according to me, can be also ratio if I want to really connect a
Status ratio. Shriyanka, did you tell
No,
that?
Shriyanka did not talk about marital status. She spoke about the annual income of a family. I am taking the second one also as an example, wherein marital status can be nominal. It is of no consequence to my research. But if it has a consequence to my research, it could be a ratio of how many people are married and what is their behavior against the subject.
Banu, please allow me to interrupt you, but don't forget a question. Marital status of the respondent, full stop.
But why are we collecting that?
Please kindly, when you are analyzing how many married, how many, that is different thing. In the questionnaire, one of the question is marital status of the respondent. You have got objective option, multiple choice. Okay, married, unmarried, others, or whatever. Okay, so those are categories. When you are capturing the response in form of categories, that is called category scale or nominal scale. Now, when you are using latter analyzing, that will be different. Okay, proceed.
Correct.
No, but sir, where I got really confused a bit is when you are building a questionnaire. The questionnaire is based on a purpose. It's not just for to gather some information which has no further purpose. So if the purpose is to just to know whether its marital status is married or not married, then it could be nominal, I understand. But there must be a reason why we are collecting it. And in this situation, it could actually become a ratio going forward, and then hence a scale.
No. We are discussing here the meaning examples of 4 scales. Okay, what you are suggesting is interesting and valid point that we discuss on the analysis. We never deny there is a purpose of the questionnaire. That's true. Now let us.
Maybe I am jumping the gun.
Try to understand which is a clear example of nominal, which is a clear example of ordinal, which is a clear example of ratio. Okay. Now coming back to Primple, and my question is, can income be put as nominal scale? That question first.
So my answer to that, okay, go ahead, please.
Okay. So annual income, generally we are talking, it would usually be taken as an interval scale, I believe, but otherwise it can also be taken as a nominal scale. Supposing I give a number to the people who are earning between 10,000 to 20,000, number 1. People who are earning between 20,000 to 30,000, number 2. So like that way, if I assign numbers to them, then it can again be put in a nominal scale.
Just to save time, I'm pretty sure all of you.
Sorry, but if we assign numbers, then the numbers hold some value. Then it will not be nominal.
No. That question, what Kabila is telling. I'm taking over now.
Yes, sir.
Please allow me. Shriyanka, what Kavita is suggesting, you are coding a category. Actually, Kavita meant lower income group, LIG. Okay, BPL category. Is it not some income group? You are labeling as BPL or you are labeling as LIG. So that is part of nominal scale. So taking clue from Primple, yes, you can put income as also nominal scale. Let's not waste time, okay? You can put it as interval scale based on your purpose, as Bhanu was correctly suggesting, based on your need. You can also put it as a ratio scale.
Yes.
Ratio scale, how will we putting it ratio scale? My question is very simple, objective. Give me objective answer only. How, when it will be, sorry, before that, Satish, you had a question?
No, sir, I'm good now. It's clarified.
Anybody who is going to respond to my last question? How, when income would be treated as ratio scale?
So when there can be meaningful interpretations of the data that we have.
No, Satish, keep it open-ended.
Okay.
What's your income? Say, for example, you put it $2,000.
Right.
I put it, say, 2,17,050. Okay. So those absolute numbers are example of ratio scale.
Right.
Okay, Orothi.
So I'd say you can use expenditure as a ratio scale because there is no, if there is no concept of a 0 point, if there is no concept of 0 point in expenditure, then you can use it as a ratio scale, because in ratio scales you can't have the values of zeros.
Why you're telling there is no concept of zero in expenditure?
Sir, I'm saying that no, sir. If it is zero, obviously, sir, it will be, you will be using it as interval. But otherwise, you can't have the zero concept in
zero concept did not definitely necessarily lead to interval scale. Income could be zero, expenditure could be zero, so it can also be part of ratio scale also. Okay.
Correct.
Any other question, query, advice?
Sir, I have not been able to understand the interval and ratio, but maybe I can come back. If others have understood it, I can come back to you later.
No, I think it is interesting. We should discuss on that. Let me give a try once again. Interval scale, in the next slide also, we are discussing again for the distinction of interval and ratio. One where you are putting in a range like CGPA. Okay. Hope you recall our MBA marking pattern. Finally, you have got 10-point scale.
Yeah.
Has any of your MBA friends got more than 10? No. So all marks are awarded within 10-point scale. So the marks, if it is in CGPA 10-point scale, that is the best example of interval scale.
Okay.
Got it? And say, for example, salary, how much you are getting in placement. What scale will be best to use? Campus placement, students' salary.
Ratio.
But limit, why should I put bracket? Why should I limit it? Okay. So that should be example, right? And moving ahead.
Sir, sorry, can you just explain the ratio scale a bit more, because I'm still a bit confused.
If you are putting the absolute number without a bracket, say for example, temperature, income, what should I think of the upper limit, upper cap? So that is absolute number. So that is ratio scale. Okay. Yes, say for example, athletes, say sprinter, 100-meter race. So the clocking time, finishing time. Okay. So it could be anything. Suppose I compete with the national athlete, or you compete also, like, so we may take minutes, they may take seconds, or we may take hours also. So there is no range. Okay.
So historically, ratio, we have seen it in comparison to two factors, right?
Two factors means?
I mean, like in comparison on the same subject, like what you said is maybe, our offer to, let's say, joining. The number of people offered and number of people joined out of those, right? Let's say we're talking about 3:2 or 5:2 or so. Historically,
I think
we have understood that as a ratio.
I think we didn't discuss that way.
No, I understand, but I think that is what is imprint in our minds. So we are not able to catch the nuances of what you are saying.
Okay. Let me again try. Suppose you are recording some data, like say biting strength or weight of fishes, part of your or weight of crocodiles. So those are variables. You are collecting data, weight of crocodile and biting strength. How will be measuring? So it is in pound or kg, maybe like 1 quintal, 1.3 quintal. So those numbers are absolute numbers. They are put in ratio scale. Okay. And say temperature of a place. There we don't think of limit. So those are again examples of ratio scale. Bhanu, just
Sir, I
please.
have a doubt. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. But when you said that if we take the weight. Yes, sir.
Hope I'm able to read your doubt. If I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure after 2 slides you'll get answer to your doubt.
Okay.
Otherwise, do
I'll
stop me. Okay. I have, I think, stuff in my next slides. Now here, a similar way, we have to clarify our doubts. If you are using some questions in your questionnaire as part of your research, say for example, how often I use credit cards? Okay, how do I capture the answer for that question in my questionnaire? Again, in Bhanu's term, depending upon my requirement of research. Okay, do I put it in a bracket, say 4 times a week, 5 times a week, or I put it category? So accordingly, it could be nominal scale, it could be interval scale, it could be ratio scale. Neha, have I been successful in confusing you? Has it not gone as a bouncer 2 feet?
No, sir.
Quote my last sentence.
So it can frequency of using use of credit cards. It can be used as your purpose. It can be nominal. It can be interval, and it can be ratio.
Stop. Give example of nominal.
So nominal means categorizing. Sir, using the credit. Sir, using the credit.
How it will be nominal?
Sir, using the frequency of.
You will accept it or what? You shouldn't accept whatever I say. When I said it could be nominal, it could also be interval, it could also be ratio, and you said huh. Why you said huh?
So serving the purpose, it can be used as.
Example then. If you are not clear, hajam nahi hua, you stop me. You should not accept all what I say. How income was nominal? Primple had started that.
Yes.
Income looks like a solid example of a ratio scale, but we debated that yes, sometimes we can also put as nominal. Do you remember or you have forgotten?
No, sir.
Tell again how income was nominal.
So it can be categorized as means what we can say the within this range it can be categorized.
Yes, so similarly, think deeply. Can I put it in different categories? Okay. Now, last question: how it can be ratio scale?
So as income can be, if we mention that
of using credit cards.
Okay, so
can it be ratio scale? No.
No, sir.
No, sir. Sir is telling means no, sir.
Can be because there's no limit you can define, no bracket you can define to it.
Neha is very obedient because I am her guide. No, whatever guide says, she will say yes, sir, no, sir, no, sir, yes, sir. And how it is ratio scale?
So
Priyanka,
when we
वही तो बोलो.
Sir, it can be a nominal scale if you just put, suppose in our study, we want it to be in sequence. So if I have used it 10 times, you have used it 9 times, someone has used it 7 times, we can just put it in that order. It could be nominal in that way.
Oh, no, Priyanka, gone. Who is your RM teacher? Subudhi or somebody else?
Sir, you.
So ratio skill, we can say that how many times we are using credit card and how
Very
many
good.
times, if you compare the credit card and debit card.
Priyanka, what about today? Are you are putting it in order and you are telling
Sorry, I meant ordinal, sir. I meant ordinal, not nominal.
But you use the term nominal.
Sorry, I meant ordinal. When I'm putting it in that sequence.
Yes.
Sorry,
so
sir.
the first example was ratio clear?
Hmm.
Okay. So that way, depending upon our requirement, you can put it. Thank you. And your preference, whether you prefer fruit juice or something. So similarly, you can think. So this type of question should come in exam. Okay. Newspaper popularity. Suppose I put 5-7 newspapers. Which newspaper you like the most, or which newspaper is most popular in our region? What type of scale it will be?
Ordinal.
Wow.
Ordinal.
All of you are clear? So after having so many examples, I believe at least it was very clear. Okay. Now please look at this exhibit and the next exhibit, which I borrowed from my favorite book on research methodology, Zygmunt. Is this picture making any sense? Who can
Yes, sir.
please help us elaborating how it is able to tell us the distinction between 4 scales? One of you, please, please lead. I want 1 minute breather.
Okay.
Yes, please. You explain to the entire class.
Nominal scale is when we are putting it in categories. So here they are showing this one horseman. So it is 1, and nominal scale will be having numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is why here it is a nominal scale. Ordinal scale shows the order wherein it will be having numbers like, it will be having values like first, second, third, fourth. So the first, the horse that is running, who's coming the first, who's in the first position, who's the winner, so gets 1 position, say position number 1, and the second one is position number 2, third one is position number 3. So this is like that is the ordinal scale. And interval scale would show me the interval between the fastest horse and the slowest horse, how much time it has taken. So that is the interval. And in the ratio scale, it's an absolute value, wherein the horse has taken 1 minute 59.25 of a second to cover 1/4 of a mile. So that is an absolute value. Hence, that is the ratio scale.
Good, good. Can you oblige us giving us beautiful example from your shooting event so that you give 4 scales? Quick.
Sir, again, like what you initially say, bib number, when we are all standing and shooting, it could be anything X, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in a randomized manner. Everyone has a bib number, which the number doesn't have any meaning to it. But after we finish shooting our match, whatever our score is, on the basis of the score, we get the ranking, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is our ordinal, where that number holds a value. There is some pattern to why we have put it. Now, interval would be if we have like a range of score. Suppose 0 to 600 is the highest. So like how we have marks. So interval would be out of 0 to 600, whatever your score is, when you have the lowest value and the highest value. And ratio would be just that absolute number. Suppose 590 out of 600 is just a number that I have. There has to be no upper limit or lower limit to it. It's just a number on the basis of which we get the information, if I'm not wrong.
So CAT percentile will be also example of interval scale?
Yes.
Ratio?
Yeah. So in exam, we should give new examples, better examples. I like this exhibit by Jigmont. And one more example, I'll be just.
I'm sorry, sir.
Please,
if I can interrupt and we can go back to the
please,
previous slide.
1 second. Yes, please.
So while I was speaking about the ratio scale, I was talking about two factors.
Banu, please be louder, please.
Sir, while I was speaking about the ratio scale, I was talking about two factors. All right. So here it is, if you look at it, the first factor is time. The second factor is the distance. And I think the example of shooting also what we got is what we have secured out of the maximum. Even if you look at the CGPA, it is also talking about what we have secured out of a maximum, which is a range, which is where the ratio comes in. Please help me if I'm wrong.
No, it's fine. What you are trying to tell us is an interesting concept. You are talking about a two-dimensional approach. What I'm trying to suggest is it can be unidimensional also. Okay.
But I thought ratio, the very fundamental concept is two-dimensional.
No, say for example, I have got
ratio. Can it be in vacuum? It cannot be. It has to be in comparison to something.
You are talking of numerator, denominator, so you are using factors. Could be possible, but let's view also in from unidimensional. Say for example, my height. Okay. Let's not associate with another factor. I can associate, no denying. Say income, I can associate multiple factor also. To start with Vanu, this simple concept can also be viewed unidimensional. Okay. Temperature, forget about the other dimension. Say for example, Helsinki, say for example, Delhi, Bhubaneswar, what is the temperature now? Okay, you can just say longitude, latitude, you can add that. Okay, but you can also view unidimensionally. Yes, we'll be taking off latter, multidimensional, two-dimensional approach also. Okay, so it is just a completion time. The last row of this picture, Vanu, is just a completion time. We can also view that way. Am I making sense, dear?
Got it, sir. I'm sorry, I've been.
No. You are really adding.
Talking to class, but just wanted to clarify.
That is research. That is research. When we add different dimensions, actually that adds to the creative thinking. That's what we also define by RM question. Thank you. Liked it. Appreciate it. You should do that. Okay. This second slide, which you should all save it, and it will be discussed later by me and Sumita. If at all you have in future of using some higher statistical analysis, you must think well in advance that I need to have higher scale salary ratio scale. My questionnaire should not end up with only nominal or nominal ordinal. Please see, if a scale is nominal, you can have this much only descriptive statistics. You cannot have more. Okay. So in order to have quantitative analysis, advanced statistical analysis, we have to have higher scales like interval and ratio. So this table we'll be discussing later, just to caution you that we all must think well in advance what analysis this research needs, befits, and what I should have. Accordingly, my questionnaire should have higher scales. Okay. Okay. This is again, Sally, can you help me? How much time we have?
Half an hour. Okay.
I'm really enjoying interacting with you. So one should also remind. Yeah. We'll be taking examples. I think, sorry, I think we are going slow. Never mind, but the discussion should be this way happen. Now, suppose our one small research project, can we rate researchers? Can we rate research activities at institutes? Okay. Now, slowly, we'll also discuss the last example, if time permits. And some of the first one, suppose we want to rate the researcher. How do you do? This is objective. I want to make a comparison. Who does good research? How do you do this? Any quick input? Just
based on citation, how many times the researcher got cited.
It could be one of the methods. Good that it has come. So that's what I also thought of. Because we are running short of time, let me run through this, but you can have your inputs, please. I just wanted to say that somebody suggested how good one research is, research impact. So you can think that initially it sounds like it's a qualitative. Quality of research is qualitative. Or how do I quantify this? If I'm able to quantify this, there's nothing like it. Suppose I want to quantify the quality of research being done at different institutes, being done by different individuals, researchers. And to me, I'll be studying the visibility, the impact, and I should also think of the research quantity. What is the difference between research quantity and research quality? Quick input again. Please save time. 30 seconds.
Research quantity is the number of publications, and research quality will be in which
value. So will it be a ratio scale?
Yes. No, sir. Research quantity. It will be a ratio scale.
Very good. And research quality, how do we measure
research quality will be in which journal it has got published, whether ABDC or ASTAR.
All those things. Okay. So now you are seeing our broad objective was comparing research publication of persons, comparing research environment of institutes. Okay, that was the broad objective. There you have got different related factors or constructs, like say impact, like say visibility. So you debate, discuss what we should measure, what we should cover. Okay. Now this article I'll be sharing. One of my good academic friend from KSoM, Biresh. He has done a wonderful publication. Before publication, he had shared pre-publication article to me. Now this is published already. I'll be appreciating if you just go through just quickly whenever you are free. I'll be sharing this article. Biresh and his team took all the articles of all the journals published during 1968 till 2015. Can you imagine how many articles they might have gone through? So all the articles they compiled, areas, impact factor, and who are the lead contributors. This exercise, one can say what is the novelty, what is the contribution. From this, we can see what is the research trend, who are the front leaders in one area. Suppose economics area, who are the top scholars. So through this, he is finding himself, Biresh, that he is among top 10 Indian contributors in economic articles in management. Okay, who are the top Indian contributors in marketing research? Who are the top Indian contributors in finance research? So this is very interesting. So now the methodology you try to understand. This way, through example, we'll be giving sufficient example. End of the day, I'll ask you to read one more example, and every time we'll be discussing what is the methodology. If you decide a topic, how to proceed, how to conduct a research. That is the methodology. So that is the objective of this course. We'll be discussing, trying to understand from each other. Every topic will be new. And this is very creative. Nothing will be written earlier. You have to decide, convince yourself, what will be the unique method of handling this. And he has done this, and I'll be sharing this later. And similar way, I was also working for my own research journal. Hope you will be knowing that I'm editing the research journal of School of Management since last 10, 12 years. Parikalpana. I can give you copies of Parikalpana. I invite you to contribute articles here. So for editorial, for my journal, I was also trying to understand who are the leading institutes who are doing really good in research. So I took ResearchGate scores, and I was measuring, counting, recording data every fortnight. And I was observing, so the last column is only my contribution. This is what, nothing great I have done, but I was just noticing, observing. It's a longitudinal study. So please see the how fast this institute are growing. So I'm just showing the top 5 in the world, top 5 in Asia, top 5 in India. So this is what the finding of my small piece of research. I was about to find how do I measure the research strength of an institute. So this was the purpose. I took ResearchGate, but one can comment why ResearchGate, why not other. So this is what is a healthy sign of debating in academic. Okay. So one can come up with newer ideas. So that's how we share ideas among fellow colleagues. This I did very recently, I think 1 month back. As you can see, again, I was taking some local institutes, Utkal University, IIT Bhubaneswar, XIM, and of course, our School of Management. How active they are, how many members are there. That's why I'm suggesting that you all should join some research aggregators so that your number comes here. So this is how you try to see and make a comparison. So though research visibility is qualitative, we can think of quantifying in this way. Now coming to individual research impact, I have collected data last week only. This is my one way of doing things, but you can suggest me some better idea. If I consider my research vis-a-vis others' research, I have got small contribution. Say, for example, so far I have got 92 citations only. If I compare my younger colleague, Sumita, she is better than me, and she has got till last week 100 plus citations. So from this, can I not infer that she is doing better than me? So at least this conclusion I can draw. So this is the research conclusion based on my analysis, which I can write as a conclusive paper. And this is quantitative. Though I started with a qualitative aspect, but there is option of making it quantitative research also. As Sumita herself might have told, given a choice, if you have a choice qualitative, quantitative, all must prefer quantitative because it is more precise. Now, when I compare my other younger colleague, Braja is younger to me and Sumita, and Braja is my own PhD scholar. He is also a faculty member here, and he has crossed 200. I think he is much more aggressive. I think Sriyanka's term aggression in research, and he's into a big lead, and he has got more citation than us. And maybe one of my MBA student, Manoj, who is a faculty member at IIITM Gwalior, he has got 1,000 plus. I taught him in MBA, and he's doing great activity in research. So this is how we compare. And if I take Braja's elder brother Nilam Madhav, who is a seasoned scientist based out of UK, and he has started research long back, and his citation is well above 3,000. And we should not be surprised if a single article can also be cited more than 3,000. I can give n number of examples, particularly those who are from finance specialization might have heard of a model called Pharma's model. Okay, so if you can imagine, his citation is over 3.5 lakh. And when you are referring this, we must understand the methodology. We must understand how it varies so heavily. It depends on when the article is published, when the scholar got into publication. So Pharma, if you can remember, his work started from 1970s. So our work started maybe like 2020. So as we grow old, citations will be increasing. And you should also try to understand the limitations. Every scholar should conclude a research paper with limitation of the methodology. Here, I should say that I have collected data from Google Scholar. And Google Scholar is not the exhaustive collection of citations. What is the meaning of exhaustive collection of citations? Primple, then Neha. Quick, 30 seconds, save time. Simple.
Sir,
All professors might not have uploaded in Google Scholar. If I'm using Google Scholar, some better professors, they have not uploaded. Say, for example, I was requesting, have you registered in Google Scholar? Some of you might not have registered so far. So I'm not doing justice to a scholar, a professor who is not listed in Google Scholar. He might be having better citations also. So, but I can counter, though I have written in limitation, given a choice, I have taken this because I'm not getting the citations of those who are not listed, those who are not found in internet. Okay, so always you can have your limitation very clearly mentioned there. Okay, so this is how some of the things quantitative. Okay, now in a nutshell, what we are suggesting here, the data, which is called the building blocks of the research, is very, very critical. And as correctly suggested by Vanu, I think a couple of times, it all depends on the objective. What exactly you want to do, that will decide the nature of data, requirement of data, and source of data. Okay, so this is what we have discussed. Now let's briefly discuss about some of the classifications. Then we'll have another exercise. Briefly, we should try to understand the needs of any research, and we have to ask few questions, fundamental questions. Do I really need data? Why should I need data? That should be the first question before starting any research. And if I'm convinced, yes, I need data, what type of data? What type of data we have not explained. Next slide, we are going to explain. Is it qualitative, quantitative? That we'll be discussing. That type of data, we should be very clear. Source of data, I think we have already discussed. And how do I collect data? Data collection method. And which scale I should use? That we have already discussed. So these are a few questions which should precede the methodology and types of research. Okay. Now let's very briefly discuss. I know that many of you know the classification, will not be wasting our time. First, we know that data can be classified in two ways: primary data versus secondary data. Hope you are clear. Request you all, please don't hesitate to stop me. Okay, sorry. I think I had suggested, Shriyanka, that you had a doubt. I was just bluffing. I didn't know what was your doubt. By the way, is it clarified?
Yes, sir. I think to a large extent it is clarified.
Then we can take it up the remaining doubts later. Anybody not clear about the difference between primary and secondary data? What you are collecting for the first time primary and what you are downloading from secondary sources, secondary data. I think this we have already discussed to a great extent. From another angle, data can be classified as quantitative versus qualitative or quantitative. Okay, this we have already discussed. Next, it could be a collected versus reported. It is reported to you automatically or auto-generated. Like say, for example, in a mall or departmental store or big bazaar, say end of the day, it is automatically reported how much of different items sold, what is the inventory, and how much you should order before you open the shop tomorrow. Okay, so it's generated, auto-generated, and you take a call. And this, I think, we should be very clear. One could be experimental, another could be observational. Observational is where I don't have any control. Experimental, I do have some control, like say biting strength. As we debated, discussed, is it spontaneous? Do I have to do some teaching or whatever, or do I have to go for some other method, what I wanted to know, or I just take it as it is? Okay, so this is what could be experimental versus observed data. And the last one, all of us should be very careful. One could be randomly observed, another could be purposive. I would be thanking you if one of you can please give your input on the last classification from your own understanding.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
So random versus purposive data is based on what sample you have collected. So if you are relying on random sampling, then the data you are collecting is basically random data. But purposive data is when you go into purposive sampling. So if you get data from purposive sampling, the data you get is purposive data.
No, you are deciding, discussing about the sampling type. Can you give specific example of that data which is randomly collected and which is purposively collected?
Okay, so sir, random data is when you have already, for example, if I want to do a consumer purchase intention behavior, so what I'll be doing is I'll be identifying those consumers, and since it is impossible to get data from all the consumers, I'll just take a small sample from them. So the sample I've collected is not going to be biased, or it will not be like I have not taken them from my own accord. So it is just everyone has an equal percentage of being included in the sample size. So it will be a random sample. Purposive data is when you are like nitpicking, when you are
Again, you are ending up jumping to sampling. Okay, well taken. Appreciated. Any other input? Satish or Vasanti?
So I'm just speaking from common sense understanding. Suppose the
Sampling.
popularity of a newly launched ice cream flavor. I can stand in front of the ice cream store and ask anyone from 8 to 80. That is random. If I go to a children's birthday party and seek the inputs, then it is purposely for kids.
Wow. Wow. Much better. Much better. Good. Any other one more example? Then we proceed.
Sir, if we talk about random,
Basanti
go
first.
ahead. Yes, sir. Sir, if we talk about random sampling, if from the sir, there are two aspects. One is sample and another one is census. If we talk,
No. Basanti, don't go to census sampling. Simple example of data.
Sir, let's say we are trying to find a particular behavior of a customer who's going to super bazaars. So we can take a particular area and say, hey, this is from Big Bazaar, this is from More, and this is from whatever. And so that is a random. I'm not really particular about it. But if my purpose is to find and do a research on understanding the behavior of a customer who's going to Big Bazaar, then I would go and collect data only from the shops which only from Big Bazaar.
Sir,
In that geography. Maybe again, I'm being very commonsensical out here.
Sir, in all these examples, we are focusing on, what are the sources of our data, but also I think we can include the determined order of data collection. So when we do the random data, we don't really have this determined order in which we want to process the data, or in which we want to, as to why are we collecting this data. It's just randomly we are doing it and on a general basis. But purposive, we have this already set standards that this is what we want, and for this we have this determined order or fashion in which we need to collect the data. So also I think apart from the sourcing.
Okay. Just like sorry, I really liked all your example inputs. Thank you so much. Just to save time, I'm not actually cutting short. Suppose objective, all of you please kindly pay attention, listen to me. In say tram or city buses flying after 10 p.m. travel after 10 p.m. in city buses or trams, metros. Okay. We wanted to know, and we are traveling there. We wanted to know how safe girls are. Okay. Let's ask researcher, investigator, travel after 10 p.m. Can you not ask randomly those who are going there in those transport? Yes or no?
We can, sir.
You are not liking my example? Or
Yes,
you are
sir.
So we can.
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
We
Said
can,
we
we can, yeah.
all of us, including me, are wrong. We should not. That's what Bhanu was suggesting. What is purpose, objective? We are forgetting it. What is the spirit of objective, Priyanka? I think back of our mind, we are having apprehension, proposition, girls are not safe. And as you know the examples in India, public transport after 10 p.m., I deliberately, just to confuse you, told, let's travel after 10 p.m. and ask those who are traveling. Who will be traveling there? Boys will be traveling, gents will be traveling. Why you are asking them? Those who are not traveling, they are not there. So the purpose is lost. You are taking a bad sample, bad data source. Okay, so that is faulty methodology. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful what exactly we wanted to get, why girls are not feeling safe to travel after 10 p.m. And we thought, let's go after 10 p.m. and on the spot, let's take the feedback. But you are not getting the girls traveling there after 10 p.m. So we should have gone a purposely sample. Rather, we should ask those girls who were not traveling there. They should or used to travel, but not after 10 p.m. Okay, so that's what we should please mean. Okay, we can give many examples. Just I thought to cite that. Okay, let's save time. To summarize, data should be specific to one's research objective as may be required. And we have to have questions like, do I have some research objective or research questions? And do I have some proposition or hypothesis? These two lines will be repeating towards the end of the session. Am I allowed to continue for another 15 minutes, 10, 12 minutes, please? Do you have got questions?
Yes, yes.
Sure.
And I know the concept. I'm repeating always concept, construct, variables. Me as a quantitative researcher, I'll be using variables means operational variables. Some other time I'll define what is the difference between variable and operational variable. Do I know how best to measure it? That is scales. And am I going to have it a hypothesis and I'm going to test the hypothesis or not? Okay. So all the research questions may not be having the requirement of hypothesis. Or I may also have to have validating any existing model, right? So these are few questions should be discussed first by ourselves before deciding the data requirement, right? Now, this is what we have to summarize. I think, Bhanu, you got my answer now. That's what actually I am putting you. Research objectives should decide the data. Okay. I will be taking a couple of examples. Okay. I would trouble you and let us have a practice test. Practice test means will be this we have already discussed. It should be easier. Which topic will be the same case of biting strength of wild animals. And if time permits, we can discuss very quickly within 5 minutes another example, use of cattle for agricultural activity in rural Odisha. And okay, I think my sequencing is like this. I'll be discussing one more example, then I'll be troubling you for the quiz. Give me 3 minutes. All of you, please participate. The objective, broad objective here is, I think, Sudarshan Babu, your area, you should now be our teacher. Suppose objective is how dependent today is our agriculture, particularly in rural Odisha, on cattle power or cattle dependent. So if I want to study this, I can do in any ways, many ways. What should we do? Sudarshan Babu, keep yourself updated and we can save time. You can suggest many things.
Hello.
Sir,
may
in the cattle power for rural agriculture, we have to think of the hybrid cattle in the village area for development of agriculture, because a lot of people are taking mechanical.
Let me put my case here. I know that there could be many variations to the research. Basanti, just allow me. Suppose, just to save time, objective B to study, is it heavily dependent on cattle? One of my research question. Okay, maybe just to save time. I'm sorry, I'm not given a chance. Just to save time of all of us, we can perhaps take methodology like this. Hope you will appreciate that. Take 1 or 2 or more villages of Odisha. Let's go there. Maybe we can study the land holding pattern and the livestock position, each household wise. Then we collect primary data and try to find out if there existed any link, dependence or association between the two. This could be one of the study. Yes. Will you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Now Basanti and Sudarshan, please help me. So what next? Having put this on screen, can you help us? How do we proceed? Say, maybe there could be many factors, many variables, or what we call construct. Okay, just to save time, let us take
the households. We have to identify the income levels of households.
Yes, we can have. Yeah, very good. Very good. Thank you. But just to save time, can I not take 2 variables? Area under cultivation and how many cattle a family is having. Basanti, will you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So if I collect this, how do I collect data from village?
So first we need to figure out how many cultivable families are there who are cultivating.
Suppose there are 65 in a village, then?
Yes, sir, we need to design a questionnaire according to that from all the aspects.
I think I designed my first question. How much of land you are cultivating?
How much of land, which type of crops you are cultivating, because there are some crops where we need cattle.
Hold on. Let us go slow so that others can enjoy.
Yes, sir.
How much of land you are cultivating? Neha madam, because wrongly you have taken me supervisor, so I'll be troubling you more often than others. I'm sorry that you have taken a wrong person. So what is the question? Repeat.
So, cultivating, what type of land we are cultivating?
Oh, you're not listening, you're not attending.
No, sir.
How much of land you are cultivating?
I'm sorry, yes, sorry, how much land I have to put?
If you're feeling hungry, bring some snacks, okay? For you and for all of us. So, that question, are you using any scale?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What scale we are using? Out of syllabus question. अरे यही तो बोल.
So you're asking.
Ordinal scale must.
Ratio scale na.
Ratio scale.
They have bouncer ball.
Yes, sir.
Question number 1. We are going to village. Household wise, you are asking. Vasanti madam has suggested questionnaire. Vasanti madam, Sudarshan Babu can have so many questions. Question number 1, simple. How much of land do you have? Cultivate. So that is ratio scale.
Yes.
How many cattle you have? Cows, buffalo. Okay. Am I using any scale? Yes or no?
Ratio
Neha?
scale again can be as many
Ratio
number
scale.
of kettles. Yeah.
I am sure next time Neha will not attend my class.
No, sir.
Are answer to kar na?
Yes, sir. I said yes.
What yes?
Yes, we are using a scale for
Yes,
measuring
it is
how many
scale.
cattle.
Yes, is a scale.
Cattle, sir. No, sir. I said yes, we are using a scale for measuring how many cattle.
Scale. My
Okay.
question was which scale? You told answer yes, sir. Yes, sir is a scale. Ratio scale. Okay. So, as Sudarshan Babu correctly told, we can add income, all those things, or the agriculture input, how much you spend. You can go on adding. Just to make it simple, suppose I want to apply test of association, which some of you or most of you must be knowing. There is a term called chi-square test. So this is how the sequence comes. I'm just making you familiarize with the steps, how, when we can decide a particular test. Okay. If this is my objective, I can perhaps go for this chi-square test, or chi-square test, I need to have data like this. Okay. And say, for example, just to save time, I should have given to you because we are running short of time today. I collected how many houses?
65.
No, I'm showing on screen 20.
Okay, you're saying now with this example.
Ha,
Household.
20. Okay.
Yeah, 20.
So this way we go on collecting. So for this land is in acre and this is in number. So 2413 like this. Okay. Then anybody who knows a contingency table, how do we put it in contingency table? Anybody quick? Cross tabulation. Has anybody heard of cross tabulation?
No, sir.
You have not heard of cross tabulation?
I haven't.
Okay, no problem.
No, sir.
Sudarshan Babu, Vasanti, how do you put this? This is called raw data. Then we have to tabulate it. How do we tabulate it? We have to have simple frequency
Some intervals.
or two-dimensional. That one was suggesting. Now here we are introducing 2D, two-dimensional. Okay, so that is called contingency table. Okay, just to save time, I would have given you as exercise, but we are running short of time. Let me do it for you manually. How should we do it? Can you all take a screenshot of this data? All of you, please. Shelly, you have left my class for lunch.
No, sir, I'm there, sir. The power has gone, so lights are off.
But Shelly should not go. Power can go. You should not go.
So I'm here, sir.
Okay. So what we can do usually, suppose for example, hope whiteboard is visible. Suppose I have categories, say somebody told income. If income in categories, so one bracket is here, one bracket is here, means up to 1 lakh, 1 lakh to 2 lakh, like this. Okay. So once you collect, you could have put a frequency simple unidimensional frequency like this, category 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then you have tally sheets. And those tally sheets you remember. And then you have frequency. Say, each range, how many? Say there are 13, there are 15, there are say 25. Like this, you make a tabulation. Am I making sense, or should I elaborate this? How do I get? Sudarshan Babu, am I making sense or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have to.
Suppose household number 1, 2, 3 up to 20 or like this, and you have got an income bracket. Okay. So then you tabulate it into unidimensional frequency table. Okay. But when we want to have a cross tabulation, then one side you have to have land in acre and here cattle in number. Okay. So land you can put it category. Shriyanka, you are tired?
No, sir. Trying to understand.
So what categories I can put? Can you make some groups here? Say marginal farmers, say 0 to maybe
Small marginal.
1 acre, then more than 1 acre to say 3, more than 3 to whatever, and 5 and 5 and above. Okay. And similarly, you put it. Now, less than 5, 5 to 10, more than 10. Neha, I'm pretty sure I have confused you. What is the meaning of this? Somebody should answer.
So that means
Sir, as per the sample, there is nobody who has more than 10 cattle and has land which is 0 to 1 acres.
Very good. So these sales are part of contingency table. You have to tabulate. How many such families are there with this land holding and less than 5 cattle? Suppose 2 or 3 or 0. Suppose Vanu told here it is 0. Then you have to put it. Okay. So once you are getting on 2D frequency, then only you can go for a chi-square test. Okay. So this is what some of the basics we should learn. Don't worry, we'll be applying statistical package software. Yeah.
Going back to the question, dependency of cattle on agriculture. I'm trying to understand the two tables. One is income table and then the land versus cattle table. How does that correlate to a conclusion?
Wow. Actually, I'm sorry, because of shortage of time, I'm moving very fast, which I should not have done. Income is not my original idea variable, only Sudarshan suggested. I wanted to distinguish between a univariate table and bivariate table. For telling you univariate table, I had taken the example of income, but to establish the association between this hypothesis, I just need that final contingent table alone. Okay. So, so we'll be repeating it again because chi-square test and all tests I'll be doing it. So one side you have got cattle number, another side you have got landholding pattern. Then the chi-square test links whether farmers are having cattle because they are having higher cultivable area. You will see the pattern. If one family is having more land, whether they are having more cattle or not, or there is no link. Okay, we'll be discussing it later. So it remains inconclusive. Please don't ask me question. I understand. So in the next class, we take it up in detail. How do the mathematics, statistics is done to calculate this. So we are associating two factors in one table. That table is called contingency table. Okay. Okay, so this is what last 2 minutes of my today's session. I'll be surely troubling you. No way out. Please do a practice test, and there are 3 short questions. And these short questions will appear in your email. You have to do it online. Okay, I'm stopping it here, and give me 1 minute to give you the questions.